Greetings and welcome to another Quintropolis video. Today I'm really excited to share with you guys something that I've been working on for a long time. And if you've been following the Quintropolis journal, you're probably fairly familiar with this already. Over the last several years or so, and really since the start of Season 3, I have been hard at work transforming Starlight HQ into a modular survival base. Now, what exactly do I mean by modular? Well, essentially, I'm referring to a base in which every element, every module, if you will, is sort of connected together into one massive machine. And so what this means is that all of our individual farms and pretty much anything that has the capacity to be redstone operated is connected together into a much larger system. And so behind all these walls here, we've got just redstone wires all over the place, different machines and contraptions that sort of connect everything together in the base. And in this way, the base becomes a lot more alive. And what this enables us to do is it enables us to really redefine how we think of automation. That's always kind of been the goal of this, is to look at automation in this game a little bit differently. In a way, what we've created is grounds for a very simplistic AI of sorts. And so today what we're going to do is a modular demonstration of this new system. So we've just entered beta phase for Starlight HQ 3.0. And what that means is that the principal architecture for this system has been completed. And so I can now show you some of that as we go into the bug fixing phase, in which I sort of take a look at all of the systems and behaviors that we have running and make sure everything runs okay. This is not going to be a world tour or even a base tour. That's going to come at a later date. We still have a lot more stuff to add to Starlight before it's finished, but what I would like to do today is give you really just a modular demonstration of the new system we've put into place. Before we dive into this, however, what I'd like to do is show you sort of a practical demonstration of modular activity at work. So here you can see this is our iron farm. The golems are automatically created, burned, and then their items are collected in the hoppers. Now, one key element of this is that it is completely automated, requiring no player intervention. It's a fully automatic farm. You don't have to do anything at all, and it will still collect resources for you. Because of that, we can actually use this farm as an input to other farms or activities in the base that regularly do require player interaction. The way we do this is by taking advantage of the hoppers. We can have a comparator detect iron in poppies from the golems that die, and then that side output can then be used to connect to pretty much anything that we want. It is exactly this key functionality that allows much of the modular behavior in the base to take place. We could, for example, use the iron farm as an input to harvest all of these nether warts that we have here. Or we could use it to automatically harvest all these melons and pumpkins. Or we could maybe use it to automatically harvest all this sugarcane. I mean, this is already an automated farm by use of a bud switch, but we can still use the farm to force activate it if we want to. We could also use the iron farm to toggle these pistons and harvest our cacti here, which to do that normally, you just push that. Or if we want to, we can use the farm to toggle all these dispensers and allow all of our trees to grow very, very quickly. There are other non-farm targets that we can use as well. For example, if we want, we can have the iron farm lock these doors, as well as these doors of Starlight Castle. We could use it to automatically brew us a batch of potions. We can also use the iron farm as a visual indicator to power all of our night lights in the outback. Using the night lights this way would allow us to visually see just how efficient the iron farm is from anywhere in the base, provided we are here. In fact, we can use the night lights not just with the iron farm, but we could hook up our mob farm to it. We could hook up our potion farm. We could hook up anything, really, that we want. In this way, we could use the night lights as a visual indication of when that system or systems are active. Within this modular system here at Starlight HQ, we have two different types of plugins that allow you to manipulate it. The first type are generators, such as the one we're going to look at today, which is the Modular Interface Specification Center. Generators perform the function of generating, hence their title, power to the modular system. They allow you to perform a certain function or array of functions that manipulate the system as a whole in some way, whether that's altering the behavior of certain farms, using certain farms to achieve a different functionality, or really anything of that nature. The second type are modifiers, such as Starlight Compressor, or if we head up here, we have a couple other modifiers. Basically what you do with these is you plug these in, and then you can use these to modify output from the generators as they affect the whole system here. And typically, to give you a good idea of really how these work, these are things like pulse extenders, pulse dividers, multipliers, inverters, that sort of thing. Things that alter the behavior of the output in some way. And then down here at our modular mixer, you can then sort of choose which modifiers you want to plug in, and that's going to take effect every time the generator creates output. We're going to look at these in a little more detail a little bit later on. So I think this will make a lot more sense once I actually show you what the generator does. Currently, this is the only generator we have in the space, but I do have plans to add more in the future. So this is the MISC for short, and this generator is sort of our foundation for the entire modular system that exists. Every generator added from here on out is really going to utilize a lot of the foundations we've built with this. And so what I'm going to do is show you really how to use it. I'm not going to go too deep into the redstone today. I may do a separate video on that because this is actually a very simple machine to understand and use. Basically what this generator does is this is the contraption that is responsible for linking or connecting two farms or contraptions together, simply. And one of the things that characterizes this is that you can save or reset any of these links at any time. So if we take a look at this book here, we have a little handy guide here that tells us the layout. So the four sort of outputs on the left are A through D, and then the inputs on the right are 1 through 8. And the way it works is you're going to press the glowstone to begin the linking process. You'll select one of the 8 inputs first, and then one of the 4 outputs. And so here's kind of a good idea of what it looks like. So your link map tells you what links are sort of created depending on the combination of letter and number that you put. So 1A is going to use the iron farm as an input for the night lights. So that's going to turn the night lights into a modular indicator of when the iron farm is active. And likewise, 2A will do the same thing for the multipurpose mob farm. 3A will use the nether temple entrance to toggle all of the SRF farms. And SRF stands for Starlight Resources Facility. These are the farms that we looked at earlier, like the melon farm, pumpkin farm, the cactus farm, sugarcane farm, tree farm. It activates all of those every time you step on a pressure plate over at the nether temple. And so on and so forth, and you can see we've got just several more links here. We've got some things that create potions in our potion brewer. So the furnace room, creating this link would create a batch of potions for us every time that we detect input from the furnaces over in our automated furnace room. And so you just got all these lists of links here, all the way up to 3D as of right now, and more are being added. So let's do an example of this. So I want to do something a little tangible here. Okay, so let's take a look at this one, 4B. We're going to use the iron farm to brew us a batch of potions. So the potion brewer we have set up here is a modification of Mumbo's design here, and this is the manual version. You can make potions manually if you would like to, but there's actually a second potion brewer inside here, which is designed for automated use, and that second potion brewer is what all of our sort of modules will use to automate the process of potion brewing. And so the first thing we want to actually do is decide what potion we actually would like the MISC to brew. And so we can do this if we head down here. We have our generator brew selector. And so this is a selector that lets us sort of choose what potion we want to do. We've got sort of every potion here. If we want to do some slow falling, if you select one on this side, it automatically nulls this entire side, so it's going to take priority on what you have selected here. So you can select any of these. I think we'll go with slow falling, and then we can head up here and select, if we want to select make it a splash potion, we can do that. And we'll of course want to do an extended because you can't do an improved version of slow falling. Next, we'll head back over here to the MISC, and we'll go ahead and create this link. So again, this is link 4B. It's going to connect the iron farm to the potion brewer. So if you press any buttons without activating the glowstone, they're not actually going to do anything. The machine is locked, and this is an indication of that. So when you press this, it's going to unlock the machine, and you do have to select an input first, so we'll select 4. And then we'll go ahead and select B. Alright, and just like that, the link is automatically created and the machine automatically locked. So that's it. We've just linked the iron farm to the potion brewer. So let's go take a look. So now, every time that iron ingots are detected in the hoppers that we have here from the golems, we'll have a brand new set of slow-falling splash potions waiting for us. Yep, there they are indeed. And if we hop back here, you can see we do have all the correct modifiers as we have specified. And so that batch of potions will brew, and then they will be extracted from that and sent down here into storage. And you can see all of these potions here were created by, different inputs, whether that's the iron farm, the mob farm. I've even used the villager run crop farms, which are another interesting input we can use. Again, we've used all of these as well, and you can see the reason why we have so many of these regeneration potions is because I actually forgot that I had this connected. And so I went ahead and reset that link when I realized I had too many. And so that's kind of an interesting thing, that you can have too many potions with this, but indeed you can. This is a really efficient use of our modular functions, though. Reason being that potion brewing is an incredibly tedious and boring task, and it takes up a lot of time, and so this actually eliminates all of that. You don't have to take any time at all, and you can brew as many potions as you want. All you have to do is make a couple selections, press a few levers, to modify your potion and whatnot, and you're done, basically. If you want a more manual solution, such as using the netherwort farm to do your potion brewing, we can also set that up. So what we can do is make sure we have save links active. We'll go ahead and make a new link, and we'll select, that's 8B, so we'll do 8 and then B. Alright, and so let's go take a look now. So here we are at our netherwort farm, so we'll just go ahead and harvest this. And as we head up, we should see that, in fact, we do have another batch of slow-falling potions being brewed here. Perfect. Those are, of course, going to be extracted and then stored. And so every time we go ahead and use our netherwort farm, that's going to brew those in addition to the iron farm. So now we have two sources of input that we can use to go ahead and brew these. At any time, we can switch the modifications that we want to throw on it, or even the potion itself, and that will take effect on the next batch. Now, what's key to note here is that the MISC doesn't replace links, which is to say that we could theoretically create all of these links and link everything together if we wanted to. Because we use RS NOR latches to create the links, that saves the state of whatever we create. So we have actually created two independent links here. We did 4B and then we also did 8B. So we can actually create even more if we wanted to. We could create 3A. if we want to, and I don't even remember what that is. Nether Temple to SRF farms. We can also do 5C. So that giant mushroom farm that we have downstairs, every time we use that, we can set that up to harvest the potion brewer. So we'll go ahead and set that. So that'll be 5C, which is this one. We can also have Stas control our farms here. So we can do 1C, which is 1C. And what that's actually going to do is it's going to harvest every single one of our farms down here every time we actually hop in Stas and take on a ride in our subway. So Stas is our subway station at Starlight, so every time we go ahead and use the blue line, not necessarily the red, we can have that do something different. But basically if we head over, we're going to see that all of our SRF farms have gone ahead and harvested. Yep, so you can see a clean slate right here. Now this pressure plate actually doesn't activate the farms at all. So these are completely modular farms, and you can see they have gone ahead and harvested there. The pumpkin and melons in particular are harvested, and they're pushed down into hoppers, and they head on into here. So we've got our pumpkins and melons here, which we use for trading at the villager farms. That's another reason I really like hooking up these farms to modular systems, because we don't have to do any actual work harvesting them, but we can still build our supply, so that way when we do decide we want to do some trading, we've got plenty of melons and pumpkins to be able to do that. Alright, so let's say you've had a little bit of fun and you've been creating some links here and there, but you don't actually remember all the links that you've created and you want to start on a clean slate. Well, that's no problem at all. All you have to do is switch this to reset links and then push this button. You got a little bit of a lag spike there, and that's because what we actually just did was we sent a pulse to every single one of these buttons here and reset all the links. So now with just those two buttons there, we've gone ahead and reset every single link, so now there are no more links created, and we have a clean slate we can go ahead and start with. And what you can also do with this is this also sort of changes the mode. So if you, let's say we save a link here, we can just create one for demonstration. If we set up 4A, so that's our Stas red line to the farms. So if we set that up here. Alright, so that's gone ahead and saved that link. What we can then do is set up another link, 5A, which will toggle the farms if we use the furnace room. So if any inputs detected from the furnace, it will go to the farms. So we've just set up two links there. Now let's say we want to reset the first one. So we'll switch that to reset links. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and do the same thing. So we'll select 4A. Alright, and so that resets that. It does not reset 5A though, because we only selected 4A, so it actually still saves whatever other link. Moving on down, we do have a couple other options which are not 100% finished yet, but the groundwork for them exists. So multi-link is a system that's not quite going to be ready for Starlight HQ 3.0. And the reason is because actually implementing it the way I want to will require a slight restructuring of the way that MISC works. Basically, what you can do with multi-link is if you switch this on, you can actually select multiple inputs. So you can select 1, and then you can select maybe 7, and then you can select 5. Only when you select an output, say D, does it lock. So that would have hypothetically created a link 175 or 157D. What multi-link would allow you to do is open up a much larger range of numbers that you can actually use, a much wider range of combinations, at an exponential level actually. The way it's currently built, you can only actually do up to 32 combinations, one input, and then one output. So 8 inputs for each output for a total of 32. Multi-link allows you to do exponentially more than that. You could do any number of combinations that you'd like. The key here, though, is that it's not able to save all of that information as of right now. We need it so that links 1 to A isn't the equivalent of 1A and 2A together. You should be able to have a completely separate link for that. Thankfully, we don't necessarily need multi-link right now because we don't actually have enough links just yet. I only have up to 3D fill here, but pretty soon as we add more stuff in the base, this list will fill up. So multi-link is a feature that will take a little more time to complete, but that's the functionality that it will have when it's done. Likewise, the tangent output is basically a side output. So every time that you press any one of these buttons, there is a second output wire that is activated no matter which button is pressed. And that's simply a wire that lets you know, or lets the output know that the MISC has been toggled and is producing output. So it's a tangent output, but my plan is to be able to use that to modulate other generators once we build them. So that, for example, you could use output from this to toggle another generator, just based on output from this alone. So that'll be the use for that once we actually build additional generators in the base. It's basically just a side output. So that's about all there is to the MISC. It's a really simple machine to use. The redstone is very straightforward, but it's definitely a complex mechanism. I think I'll do a video at a later date that really dives into the technical aspects of this and how it's built. I am going to do some more videos later on as we continue developing this and as I add more things to the whole modular system here. But I hope this gives you a good general idea of what I mean when I say that Starlight HQ is a modular base. Everything is powered by modular systems. You can manipulate the base in different ways, and most importantly, you can customize its behavior to suit your needs. So I think it's a really cool concept to introduce to the Minecraft community, and I definitely would welcome your input as well as suggestions on other modular capabilities that we can add. Since we have the foundations here, that's going to make it a lot easier for me to build upon them and create some really cool creative combinations. As always with session 300, this world will be available for download, so of course you're going to be able to play with all this yourself. But I think that's going to be it for now. Stay tuned for more videos coming soon, and I'll see you next time.